Greetings! Today on my Focus RS, I am installing the carbon fibre air scoop from Cobb. Alright, here we are, the absolutely fantastic looking Cobb carbon fibre air scoop that I will be installing into my Focus RS today, and it really is a thing of beauty. This is proper 2x2 twill carbon fibre weave, none of your crap fake stuff. It is proper motorsport grade. It is really beautifully done, all one piece. Of course has the Cobb logo like debossed into the top there, and yeah, it's very light, as you would expect, being proper carbon fiber, which actually is going to make installation a bit easier than, you know, similar products out there on the market, because it means that we basically get to mount it, those two little mounting spots, using the factory plastic clips as opposed to having to, you know, put in some kind of nut and bolt setup. Other than just looking amazing, it's going to be functionally excellent as well. You can see it has this asymmetrical shape at the front of the opening. That's going to give us maximum air scooping from the front grille, and yeah, just going to increase the performance of like air channeling into the air box. Once we get out there, you'll see that like behind the grille there is like a small mouth which kind of just doesn't go anywhere, which is forming part of the intake already, and this is actually just going to be directing the cold air into that, as opposed to right now it's just sort of, you know, sucking, hopefully, optimistically, and yeah, it's going to be a nice, simple, hopefully not too difficult upgrade. The only difficult part is going to be cutting a hole in part of the factory plastic that's underneath part of the bumper right now, but you'll see that once we get there. And yeah, it's going to look really cool. It's going to be very stealthy because it is just carbon fiber. There's no like colorful bits going on like you get with other options. All we're really going to see is like, you know, the sort of front scoopy bit. Most of the time we're not even going to see the nice parts of the carbon fiber, which is a slight shame, but it is what it is. We're going to see the front here like that, and yeah, it's going to sit right beside our Hell oil cooler. It's going to fit real nice and just fill out that space, and going to be great. So without further ado, let's go and get installation started. As you can see then, I'm starting off from this point right here, which is the bumper already removed. I've covered the bumper removal in a previous video. I'll put a link down below to that, so if you need to watch that, you can jump over, watch that, and then come back here. But for the purposes of this video, I wanted to just get straight into it, so I've gone ahead and removed the bumper. It's fairly simple, it's not too difficult. You start off removing the under trays, and then it's just a bunch of plastic clips and torque screws pretty much, and then it just comes right off. But yeah, let's get right into it. So where we're doing this install is right here. Alright, first step then is to remove a couple of items here. First we're going to remove the stock mouth or scoop thing. It's held on with two plastic clips, the two clips actually that we're going to be reusing. Then we have another plastic clip over here to remove, which is the other part that is holding this piece of plastic on. We do need to, of course, retain this piece of plastic and do a bit of work on it. We need to cut a hole in it in order to facilitate our new air scoop. But yeah, once we get these three plastic clips out, then this basically just pulls out. So these clips are pretty simple and easy to remove. We just get our trim tool in there in between to begin with. So once it's out, maybe about a centimeter or so, then we go in behind the clip and it pops right out like that. So yeah, we do that with all three of these. The one in here is a little bit more difficult to get at. We just have to wiggle our trim tool in there, and it's not too bad really. There we are. So that is technically loose, but it's kind of just being held by the corner here of this plastic bit. So I'll just move these clips out of the way and remove this third clip. Okay. So, I mean, we can sort of manipulate this out of here now, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we just get a firm grip on this and give it a pull, and it comes off. Same on the other side, and that's all the way off. These little metal clips, they may stay in place or they may come off with the plastic. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We're just worried about getting the plastic off of there. So now that we have this off, we can do a side-by-side comparison. I mean, it's not really an apples-to-apples comparison, so there's maybe not a lot of point in it, but you can see that this is all you get stock. Then that's the opening that goes, you know, into the pipe that leads to the airbox, which would actually be sort of equivalently up here. And you can just see, I mean, you can see like the opening of the Cobb is like way bigger, but also then of course the positioning. I can show you on this bumper right here, it's going to be sort of around here and just take that nice clean cold air in. So yeah, attaching this, very simple. I mentioned it before, we actually get to reuse our two little plastic clips. Obviously you can see that the holes are going to match up with the stock piece, and this is extremely light, so we don't have to have any special hardware. The little plastic clips will do just fine. I'll pop this in place now just to show you, but we do then have to get the Dremel out afterwards. I'm just going to put the air scoop on here temporarily. Probably need to take it off again just for final fitment, but if we just line it up and push our little clips in, simple and easy. So yeah, that looks, you know, really nice. Obviously we don't have all the other bits in or around it just yet, but yeah, it looks great. You can see that there's plenty of clearance there to the oil cooler, and yeah, loving it. Alright, as far as where we need to cut our hole in this plastic piece, Cobb do have this available, a cutting template, which, you know, well, it will actually go around this way. Now, the issue with this is that this is for the Focus ST version of this, which is, you know, somewhat different to the RS version, and they do not have an RS version of this. So unfortunately, this isn't going to be, you know, a super simple just line it up and go. We're going to have to do a little bit of guesswork. Now, what I've kind of figured, this line that they have here does kind of line up with this bit right here. So, you know, if we get this up here, obviously cut these bits out and line that up, we should be in pretty much the ballpark for cutting this out. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, if you really don't have the patience for like working this out and doing a bit of trial and error, you could go full Velossa Tech, which they just say to chop an entire section out of this. But I'm going to go with the Cobb way of trying to just do a hole and see how we get on. But yeah, like I say, there could be a bit of trial and error. We'll start off a bit smaller than we maybe need, and then open up the hole if necessary. Alright, so I cut along this line and I cut the hole out approximately, laid it up against that little line that does seem to match up. So yeah, essentially this is where I'm going to stick it down and then cut. Alright, so I'm ready to cut, and what I'm going to be using is, with the Dremel, I've got the Dremel easy speed click thing, and specifically then the cutting disc I'm using is a specific one for doing plastic, this 38mm PVC. So yeah, just gonna cut that out. Okay, so did as much as I could with the Dremel there, just breaking it out of here. And there you go. Obviously it's a little bit rough, so I will need to grab some sandpaper just to smooth that all out. But yeah, I'll do that, and then we can start test fitting and see if we need to remove any more material. So feeding it up through there, I can immediately tell I'm going to need to take a bit more off because I can't get it to like turn the angle entirely without fouling, and to get those holes to line up right there, you see at the side there. So yeah, going to have to trim a bit more off. Alright, so I just got done trimming this out to make it fit nicely without fouling at all, and I ended up having to take out like a fair bit more of the plastic than I had expected. That template for the ST really just is nowhere near correct for the RS, but yeah, essentially I had to come all the way up over this lip bit here, taking a decent chunk of that out, and most of this whole bit right here needed to come out because it kind of sits like at a bit of an angle, kind of like almost like this way, so I didn't quite need to take quite so much out here, but yeah, I had to take out a bunch more here and a bunch more down here just to make it fit nicely, so that this bit essentially wasn't pushing down on the Cobb, because pushing down on the Cobb means it won't fit right and it'll just foul and just not be good at all. But yeah, now all I need to do is just sand these edges down because they are still a little bit rough, and then we can get to final installation of all of our bits back into the car. Alright, cool. So reinstallation is going to be feeding the Cobb up through the hole and then just making sure that this tab on the Cobb goes behind the tab of the shroud, and then just, yeah, essentially lining everything up, pushing the shroud onto the little metal pins, and then getting our 3 plastic push clips in place, and that'll be the installation done. Alright, so there we are then, nicely installed. Like once we actually have our hole cut out, you know, it's remarkably quick and easy just to, you know, put it all back together. Really the only tough part is that getting that hole right. But yeah, looks great now that it's in there. You can see I put the sticker on, put it in such a place where we might actually see it sometimes. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and that is it. Just have to put the bumper and everything back on and we will be installation complete. There we are then, that's the installation finished of the Cobb carbon fibre air scoop, and I gotta say, it looks absolutely fantastic. It's super duper stealth. I mean, over my shoulder you can probably hardly even see it, being that it is black carbon and nothing else, and the sun is quite bright at the minute. So yeah, I mean, that's quite cool, but whenever you do see it, whenever the sun does catch the weave, it looks extra cool, and I think that's great. So yeah, I mean, installation, not too difficult at all. It's obviously very easy to unclip the old and clip in the new Cobb, but the difficult, or not even difficult, but awkward part being like the dremeling, the cutting out. That was a bit awkward, especially given that Cobb don't provide a proper template for the RS, which is a little bit annoying. We just kind of have to use the ST one and, you know, sort of figure it out. And of course then the ST one just wasn't right. But yeah, I mean, ultimately got there in the end, just a bit of trial and error, and everything else is pretty smooth, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. I like it. I hope you like it as much as I do, and I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again. Goodbye.